Hey guys, welcome back again to another one. It's actually the same day, but I wanted to make a quick little video about an idea that kind of came to mind as I was sitting there doing nothing. Actually, let me start off with that. They say the best ideas and the best things, the best thoughts come to you when you're not doing anything. And I'd actually encourage you guys to sometimes just sit, put the phone down, turn the computer off, and just kind of like lay there and watch your thoughts as they kind of flow. You'd sometimes realize that a lot of the dormant ideas in your head start to come up, and that's where you realize, oh, that's a nice idea, I could do that. Or you realize things about yourself you never truly knew. But either way, that's probably something for another video perhaps. I will keep that in mind. But be okay with being bored is the whole archive of what I'm talking about here. Because sometimes it can help bring about ideas you never knew existed within you. But I wanted to talk today about being an initiator. Right. I think in the world we live in, not a lot of people take the time to initiate things, to be the first to do something. I think whether it be in friend groups, whether it be in class, whether it be in a job or something like that, people are afraid of being the first to do something. I don't know what age group of people watch these videos, but if, let's see an example, like you're in class or something, and a question, or not a question, a teacher asks a question. You know what the answer is, but at times you don't usually raise your hand to answer it, unless you're one of those rare few, kudos to you. But you don't usually raise your hand until somebody else does. I'm guilty of this. At times I'm like, I know the answer, but I'm not gonna, raise my hand just yet. Because you want to see who's going to raise their hand first, then probably do an example and follow. But what I'm trying to get at here is that at times we should be the first to do something, be the first to raise our hands, be the first to reach out, And in the past, I used to be like that as well. I used to be the first to reach out to people and check if they were doing all right or not. But at times, when you do it, you don't usually get the same reciprocation back. So sometimes it's like, you gotta take a step back. That's a whole other story though, where you put an effort into someone. And I think that's probably an underlying reason why some people don't be the first to do things. And I'm talking specifically now about like approaching people or being the first to reach out or being the first to initiate a meetup with someone. I think the reason why some people don't do it is because reciprocation is lacking. I've been in times myself where I used to be the person checking up on people all the time. But then once I stopped reaching out for a few days, I never really got that back in return. Not that I was doing it so that I would get a response back in return, but I'm somebody who likes reciprocation, right? To almostly, what the heck is that? But to the point now that if I'm doing something, I kind of look for a specific type of reciprocation, right? If there is none, then I totally pull back. Don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, but that's just how I operate now. I think if you come from a past where you used to be the first to initiate and it didn't really pan out so well, like what's the use in doing that then? But I wouldn't say stop doing that just because some people didn't respect that. At the end of the day, if you keep doing it enough times, you'll find people, and I have found people now, that if I initiate, they'll reciprocate. And at times, yeah, maybe it might take the little conversation of, hey, why don't you be the first to reach out, you know? And then you reciprocate in kind. But all I'm saying here is, be the first to do things sometimes. Be the first person to say hi to the person sitting next to you in class or at work or at a job. Be the first to ask that question. Be the first to compliment somebody's fit or compliment their car or compliment their style, compliment their whatever it is that you want to compliment. Because we sometimes, how would I even say this? We sometimes limit ourselves to the point where we're not really being truly authentic, right? How many times have you probably walking somewhere in public and you see that somebody has a really nice fit on, or somebody just looks nice in general, and the first thought that popped into your head was to give them a compliment, but then what? You worried about, oh, but what if they say this or do that or reacts negatively, right? And that's an understandable feeling, of course, where you just don't know. Because I know about this supposed epidemic where they say like guys aren't approaching women anymore. And I get that, because you just don't know how that reaction is going to be. Where as a guy, you go up to a girl and you think they're pretty attractive, you try to shoot your shot. And this is talking about the gentleman here. But then you get shut down because perhaps the ego's a little too high, who knows. But I get also that's why some people don't initiate. But I think we need to stop worrying about the outcome of the situations. If we have an abundance mindset, sticking to that particular example about approaching a woman, you won't worry about a rejection, especially if you're a guy who is comfortable within himself. You know, if one doesn't want you, you go to the other. I think that's how you should operate. You know, if you go up to someone and you show interest and the person isn't interested in you, come on. There's plenty of women out there for you to go up and approach and do whatever you need to do. There's no need to worry about one not working out. But somebody could say, oh, but that one was so perfect. For me, I have that mindset of it can only go up from here, right? That's the mindset that I carry with myself. So if this doesn't work out, well, then something better is coming along the way. And that's how you should look at it. So going back to the topic of being the first to approach, to initiate, to do things, I'm saying this because that's what could also gain you that level of respect. This year, I've tried it a lot myself, where I see that somebody has something nice on, or somebody, you know, is looking quite calm. I let them know. I'm like, you know, I mess with this thing. I fancy that. And you notice they're like, oh, thank you. And sometimes that's all it takes. You make that little initiation, and it kind of gives them that go ahead of, okay, perhaps maybe I can start to open up a little bit. And I'm telling you, it does wonders. In the past, I didn't used to do that. But I always appreciated those who did that to me. And I still remember them to this day. Because it takes guts to be able to do these type of things, to not worry about a rejection. And rejection can come from both male and females, not just a woman who can reject you. A guy can also do the same. And I'm not talking about a guy approaching. No. I'm talking about maybe you compliment someone and they're like, who the heck are you? It is what it is. Just move along and find somebody who will reciprocate that in kind. You know, sometimes I think we take things too personal as people when it really shouldn't be that deep. It's all about the mindset you have. It really is. Because if you have that abundance mindset, you wouldn't worry about random average Joe's opinion of you. You'd move on to somebody who would appreciate you, and you go up and approach enough people, you'll know that, yeah, people are quite receptive, depending on who they are. Now, to the guys, when it comes to approaching women, what I will advise is never be too overt with it, you know? I would say just see something about them, compliment, and just walk away. Usually that does wonders, especially if you're gonna see the person over and over again. Oh, yeah, you basically have installed yourself into their mind, and you're just gonna be yourself, be authentic, you know? Compliment something that people put effort into. People put a lot of effort into how they dress, how they look sometimes, their habits, their demeanor. If you were to compliment these type of things, people would be like, oh wow, this person actually noticed. Because not many people notice that type of stuff. A lot of people are to themselves, thinking about themselves, being self-conscious. But if you take a step outside of your head and be present and notice things about people, give them compliments based off those things, you'll notice that, oh wow, you get a reaction of people being like, this person actually noticed, and they want to be more around you because what, you're a grounded individual, you're present. You're like a child in a way. Children don't think about what tomorrow's gonna bring or what the past used to be, but they go outside and they're like, oh, what a nice tree, or this little scenery right here. They'd be like, wow, what is that? Green, whatever thing is falling down. But that's what makes it so like nice, because they're present. They're not worrying about what X, Y, and Z is gonna think about them. And to end things off, that's what I would say. I'd say it's important to not worry about what X, Y, and Z was gonna think. That's the reason why people don't be the first to approach. That's the reason why I used to not be the first to initiate or approach people. But once I kind of got that out of the way, I just noticed that it was just easier to make friends, easier to build rapport with people, and easier to really make people's day. Because you just never know what somebody's going through. Somebody could have been having an awful day, but then you come up to them and you're like, oh wow, you got a nice smile on you, or that fit is looking real dapper. And by the time you know it, they go home and they're like, oh wow, that person, he made my day by complimenting me. She made my day by complimenting me. And it will mean a lot to them. In the moment, you might think it's nothing. And I used to think like that, where I was like, yeah, what's the point of me complimenting this individual? They're not even going to remember who I am. But no, people do remember. They do remember. So that's what I'll leave you guys with. Just a little quick video on how to potentially be the first to do things and the advantages that come with it. Because really, you don't have anything to lose by being the first to initiate. You really don't. Keep that in mind, as always. I don't think this was too shabby of a video, you know? Not too shabby at all. Like, comment, and subscribe as always, and I'll see you next time.